Hello everyone. Today I will continue telling you the love story of two Sam and Officer Lee. I hope you enjoy the video. The morning was cool and crisp, yet filled with sunlight. The small market was lively with calls and chatter. Two Sam carried her familiar woven basket, walking slowly past each stall, her mind focused on one thing: buying something nourishing to cook for Chion. Chion, Officer Lee's older sister, had been feeling unwell these past few days. When Sam heard the news, worry clung to her heart. She kept thinking about doing something to help her recover. After all the times Chion had cared for her, spoken gently, loved her like a younger sister, Sam couldn't just stand by knowing she was sick. She stopped by the vegetable stall, choosing some dried shiitake mushrooms, a few fresh ginger roots, then added some red dates and newly picked Vietnamese coriander. When she finished, Sam headed toward the familiar chicken seller. "Which chicken is the best? I want to make a tonic soup for someone who's sick," Sam asked softly but sincerely. The seller smiled kindly and pointed at a plump young chicken. "This one. It'll be perfect for stewing. The smell is wonderful. Great for someone who's feeling weak." Sam nodded, waited for the chicken to be caught and tied, then placed it in her basket. She thanked the seller and continued strolling through the market to check if she'd missed anything. Today, Officer Lee was busy and didn't stop by Sam's house like he usually did. Not seeing him at the gate in the morning calling Sam "Oi, I'm here," made her feel a tiny pang of emptiness. But then she remembered she would soon bring food over to Chion, and her heart warmed again. Carrying the full basket, Sam walked home while wondering, what should I cook for Chion? Chicken stew with ginger? Or chicken porridge with red dates? She hadn't started cooking yet, but her heart was already filled with a gentle feeling. The desire to care for someone with all her sincerity. Back home, Sam set all the ingredients onto the kitchen table. The small kitchen felt quieter than usual, with only the wind brushing past the window and the sunlight falling across the fresh produce she had just bought. Shiitake mushrooms, ginger, red dates, shallots, each one carefully chosen for Chion. She loosened the rope around the chicken, checking it one last time. "I hope this helps her feel better," Sam whispered to herself. She washed her hands and rolled up her sleeves. Normally at this hour, Officer Lee would stop by, or call out from the yard, "Sam, oi, I'm here." But today he was busy, nowhere to be seen. The quietness was so complete that Sam could hear the ticking of the wall clock. She opened the window for some air. The breeze stirred the leaves outside, the soft rustling easing her heart a little. Sam suddenly missed Lee. Missed the way he leaned into the kitchen doorway, curiously asking what she planned to cook today. The thought alone made her cheeks warm. She shook her head lightly, reminding herself to focus. Sam brought out the cutting board and placed the chicken on the counter, but didn't start just yet. First, she organized her ingredients. Vegetables in one corner, red dates soaked in warm water to soften, mushrooms rinsed and left to drain. Every movement was slow, careful, as if even the preparation itself had to carry all her affection. Then she took out a large pot, set it on the stove, ready to begin cooking. The small kitchen was still quiet, without footsteps or conversation, yet the warmth in Sam's chest never faded. Today she wanted to do something truly good for Chion, and a pot of nourishing chicken soup felt like the right thing. When the soup finally finished simmering, the scent of ginger and red dates filled the kitchen with comforting warmth. Sam carefully poured it into a thermos bottle, wrapped it in a towel and headed toward Chion's house. The small path leading there was silent, the afternoon breeze swaying the branches gently. Sam reached the door and knocked softly.
"Chị Oanh, it's me, Sam."
No answer. She knocked again, louder this time. "Chị ơi, I brought food for you. Are you home?" Still silence. A tight flutter of worry hit her chest. Sam tried the doorknob, it wasn't locked. That only made her more anxious. "Chị Oanh, I'm coming in, okay?" she whispered with trembling voice. She pushed the door open. The house was dim, curtains still drawn. No sound from the kitchen. No TV. Only a stillness so heavy it sent chills down her spine. Holding the warm container close, Sam walked cautiously. "Chị?" As she passed the living room, the sight before her nearly made her drop the soup. Chion was lying on the floor, slumped to one side, her hair covering half her face. One arm stretched out, as if she had tried to reach for something before collapsing.
"Chị Oanh."
Sam dropped to her knees, hands shaking as she touched her shoulder. Dee, can you hear me? Dee ơi? There was no response. Her breathing was faint, so weak that Sam could barely sense it. Her heart pounded wildly, her eyes stung with tears, her hands trembling as she held onto Chion. No, please, you have to wake up. In panic, Sam fumbled for her phone, her fingers trembling as she dialed. Right now, her mind could only think of one person. Officer Lee. Her hands trembled violently as Sam fumbled for her phone. She dialed Officer Lee's number first, almost by instinct. The phone rang. No. Sam bit her lip, her free hand gripping Chion's wrist tightly. Please pick up, please. But no one answered. The call rang a fourth, then a fifth time before going straight to voicemail. Sam's heart felt like it was being crushed. She called again, but the only response was the cold, endless beep echoing in the silent house. Lee, where are you? She whispered, her voice barely holding together. She looked down at Chion lying motionless on the floor. Her face pale, her breathing so faint it felt like it could disappear any second. At that moment, fear struck Sam so hard her legs nearly gave out. She clutched the phone, eyes burning red, but forced herself to stay calm. This time, she dialed emergency services. Hello, please, someone is unconscious. Her breathing is very weak. The address is... Her voice shook so much that the operator had to ask her to repeat it twice. An ambulance is on the way. Please stay calm. Why, yes, okay. When she hung up, Sam knelt beside Chion, panic tightening her chest until tears slid down her cheeks without her noticing. Hang on. The ambulance is coming. Don't scare me like this. But Chion's chest rose only faintly, so faintly, as though it might stop at any moment. Meanwhile, Sam's phone remained silent, with not a single call back from Lee. She had never felt so alone. The distant wail of sirens slowly grew louder. Sam held tightly onto Chion's shoulder and looked toward the doorway as if begging for help. They're here, Chioi, just a little more. The door burst open as two paramedics rushed inside. Miss, step aside for a moment. Okay, she collapsed, I don't know when. I knocked and no one answered. They quickly checked her pulse and heart rate. One paramedic frowned slightly and signaled to the other. Blood pressure's dangerously low. Get the stretcher ready. Sam stood up abruptly, heart pounding so hard she felt it might burst. Watching them lift the unresponsive Chion onto the stretcher made her knees almost buckle. Are you coming with us? Why, yes. Yes, I'm coming. The ambulance doors shut, and Sam sat beside the stretcher, holding the cold hand of Chion. The vehicle shook as it sped forward, red lights flashing, and the steady beep of the heart monitor made the air feel even heavier. Sam took out her phone and called Officer Lee again. Beep, beep, beep. No answer. She gripped the phone so tightly her fingers turned white. Lee, please answer. I'm so scared. One of the paramedics glanced at her. Stay calm. We're stabilizing her as best we can, but we need to get her to the hospital quickly. I know, Sam whispered, but tears still fell onto the back of Chion's hand. The ambulance stopped at the hospital entrance. The doors swung open, and the team rushed the stretcher toward the emergency room. Sam followed closely behind, nearly out of breath. She stood in the hallway, hands shaking uncontrollably. The emergency room doors shut between her and the chaos of doctors' voices, cartwheels, and urgent commands. Sam leaned against the wall, her heart racing, eyes swollen and red. She tried calling Lee again. Beep, beep. This time the phone showed he was on another call. Sam bit her lip until she tasted blood. He must be on duty, of course he is, but I need him so much right now. She drew a long, shaky breath and sat down, eyes fixed on the emergency room door, terrified that if she even blinked, Chion would slip away. In that cold, echoing hallway, only Sam remained, small, afraid, trembling, yet unable to take even one step away. Time crawled painfully slow. Sam sat with her knees pulled close, staring through the frosted glass as if sheer willpower could bring Chion safely back. The clock hands moved. Sam's eyes burned from worry and tears. Finally, the door opened. A nurse stepped out. Family of patient Own? Sam jumped to her feet. Yes, that's me. How is she? The nurse softened her voice. She's regained consciousness, but she's very weak. Her blood pressure dropped significantly, and her body was severely dehydrated. The doctor is still monitoring her. You may see her for a few minutes, but try not to speak much. She needs rest. Sam nodded repeatedly, her legs unsteady as she walked inside. The room was quiet, filled only with the steady beeping of the heart monitor. On the bed, Chion lay slightly turned to the side, her face pale, her eyelids fluttering, a sign she was slowly waking up. "Chion," Sam whispered, afraid to startle her. On's eyes opened slowly, dull with exhaustion. It took several seconds for her to recognize the person beside her. "Sam?" Her voice was as faint as a breeze. Sam bent down quickly, taking her cold hand into hers. "Yes, it's me. Chi, you scared me so much." The corners of On's lips lifted just slightly, as if trying to reassure her. "Sorry. I got dizzy. Couldn't call anyone. You don't have to apologize, just rest. The doctor said you'll be fine if you recover slowly." On's gaze shifted, searching the room as if looking for someone. "Lee, does he know?" Sam squeezed her hand, her throat tightening. "No. I called again and again, but he didn't pick up. He's on duty." On closed her eyes, exhaling a thin, fragile breath. "Poor boy, don't blame him. His work is hard." "I won't blame him. I'm just worried about you." Her voice trembled, and the tears she had been holding back finally fell onto On's hand. A nurse stepped in quietly. "That's enough visiting for now. She needs more rest." Sam nodded, letting go of On's hand slowly. Before leaving, On whispered, "Sam, thank you. If you hadn't come, I might have." "Please don't say that. I just did what anyone would do." The door closed behind her. Sam stood outside with her arms wrapped tightly around herself, her heart still racing, but at least On was safe. Only one thing kept her from feeling relieved. Officer Lee still had no idea what had happened. After leaving the emergency room, Sam stood in the hallway for a long moment, as if her soul still hadn't returned to her body. But when she looked through the glass panel and saw Chion lying there with an four in her hand, she immediately steadied herself. "Lee isn't here, so I have to take care of her for him." She took a deep breath, wiped her tears, and walked toward the reception desk. "Nurse, I'd like to transfer her to a regular room so I can take care of her." The nurse looked at the small girl with red, swollen eyes who was still trying to speak clearly. She nodded. "All right, please fill out the forms. The patient needs someone by her side." Just that one sentence was enough to make Sam feel a new sense of responsibility settle on her shoulders. When Chion was transferred to a regular room, Sam took a seat right beside her. She placed the chicken soup thermos on the table, but didn't dare open it yet. She wanted to wait until Chi was stronger. Sam used a warm towel to gently wipe each of Chion's fingers, adjusted her blanket, and occasionally checked the monitor like someone who truly belonged to the family. Her phone lay beside her, and every few minutes, she glanced at the screen, checking for a message or a call from Lee. But the screen stayed silent. Unable to believe it, she tried calling again. Beep, beep. Then it disconnected automatically. Sam swallowed hard, but not a single word of blame came to her lips. Lee is doing his job. I'm sure of it. If he knew she collapsed, he'd drop everything and run here. Thinking that made her eyes sting again. But she only breathed deeply, brushed away her tears, and continued caring for Chion. Near noon, Chion stirred. Sam immediately jumped up and grabbed her hand. "You're awake? Are you hurting anywhere?" On opened her eyes weakly, her voice hoarse and faint. "Sam, you haven't gone home?" "Why would I go home? If no one's here to take care of you, I'll do it." The words came out lightly, but held a firmness that made Chion's eyes glisten. "Does Lee know yet?" Sam gently shook her head. "I've been calling, but he hasn't picked up. He must be on duty." On exhaled, her breath shaky. "Poor boy, always busy." "It's okay, Chi. I'm here." Sam leaned closer, her voice softening. "If Lee isn't around, then I'll take care of you for him." The sincerity in those words made Chion's lips tremble, as if wanting to smile but too exhausted to do so. As evening came, the doctor checked on her and explained that her condition had improved, but she still needed close monitoring. Sam nodded and carefully wrote down every instruction. Medication schedule. Fluid amount. When she could eat porridge or soup. Precautions. She did everything with the seriousness of a blood relative. Throughout the entire afternoon, Sam did not leave the room even once. If Chion felt cold, Sam tucked the blanket around her. If she felt thirsty, Sam brought water. When she struggled for breath, Sam held her hand and soothed her gently. The phone stayed silent. But Sam no longer expected anything. Her entire heart was focused on the woman lying in the bed. In the warm yellow light of the hospital room, Sam sat by Chion's bedside. Her eyes tired but filled with determination. Even though she was alone, she stayed. Night fell slowly, the soft yellow light making the silence in the room even heavier. Sam sat in the chair beside the bed, fanning gently with a small hand fan. A whole day of caring had made her eyelids heavy, but the slightest movement from Chion would wake her instantly. Around midnight, the heart monitor suddenly began flashing rapidly. Sam jolted. Oanh. What's wrong? Own furrowed her brows, her breathing quickened, her hand trembled. She tried to open her eyes but grew weaker by the second. Sam, I can't breathe. Those words stabbed straight into Sam's heart. She shot up, placing her trembling hand on Own's chest. Hold on, I'm calling the doctor. Sam rushed to the nurse call button, pressing it over and over. But in those few seconds, Chion suddenly coughed violently, her whole body tightening from pain. Please don't scare me like this. Sam ran back, supporting her shoulders, her own hands shaking but trying to keep Chi upright so she could breathe easier. Slowly, Chi, take it slow. I'm right here. Own's heartbeat was still racing, her breaths were sharp and shallow, her complexion drained of color. Sam felt as though she herself couldn't breathe either. She pressed the emergency button again, her voice cracking. Please. Someone help. Own weakly placed her hand on Sam's arm, breath trembling. Sam, don't cry. I'm okay. Okay what? Look at you. How can you say you're okay? Sam sobbed, tears running down onto Own's hand. Finally, the door burst open. 2 nurses and the on-call doctor rushed in. Please step aside. Her oxygen is dropping. Prepare the mask. Sam moved back, but her legs were shaking so badly she nearly collapsed. She gripped the bed frame, watching them attach the oxygen mask and adjust the machines. The loud machine beeps and harsh lights made her dizzy. Miss, calm down. We're stabilizing her, one nurse said quickly, but Sam could barely hear anything. Her heart thudded painfully. Just earlier today, Chi had been awake. How could she suddenly become like this? After what felt like an eternity, Own's breathing finally stabilized. The doctor turned to Sam. Good thing you noticed quickly. If it had been any later, it would have been dangerous. Sam's hands tightened, her chest rising and falling in fear. Yes, I understand. Don't sleep tonight. If her condition worsens again, press the call button immediately. Sam nodded hard. I won't sleep. I'll watch her. When they left, Sam returned to her seat, pulling the blanket gently over Chion and brushing stray strands of hair from her forehead. It was late, deep into the night. Her phone was still silent. Lee still had no idea what was happening. But Sam wasn't thinking about that anymore. In this moment, only one thing mattered. She had to do everything, anything to keep Chion safe. Sam held her hand and whispered, I'm here. Don't be scared. Please don't leave me alone. And so too Sam stayed awake the entire night, her eyes red but resolute, watching every breath that rose and fell from Chion's chest in the quiet hospital room. Morning sunlight filtered through the hospital window, soft as mist, falling gently over Chion's face. After a long night battling fatigue and shortness of breath, she finally began to open her eyes. Everything was a blur, the white ceiling, the steady beep of the heart monitor, and, right beside the bed, Sam had fallen asleep on the table, her head resting on her arm, hair cascading down to cover half her exhausted face. The jacket she had thrown over herself during the night had slipped off one shoulder from all the rushing around to care for Chion. Seeing Sam there, Chion's heart softened. All night long, it was Sam who pressed the call button, who summoned the doctor, who wiped her sweat, who held her hand. No one else. Not Lee's coworkers. Not the neighbors. Just one small girl she had only known for a short while, yet who cared for her like family. Her eyes stung with tears. This girl, she whispered, her voice weak but filled with affection. She lifted a trembling hand to brush Sam's hair aside, wanting to pull her jacket up properly, but she didn't have the strength. Still, her heart felt warm. If Lee knew how hard Sam worked last night, he would be devastated. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Officer Lee was just finishing a mission that had lasted from yesterday afternoon until this morning. Dust clung to his uniform and fatigue weighed heavily on him, but the moment he was free, he grabbed his phone. Over 10 missed calls from to Sam. A single message.
Anh ơi, chị Oanh file net.
I'm at the hospital. Lee's heart clenched painfully. He didn't waste even a second. He called Sam back. The number you have dialed is not available. Lee bit down hard, almost growling from panic. He called again, his hand shaking. This time it connected. A weak, sleepy voice answered. Hello? Sam, where are you? How's my sister? Are you okay? His voice poured out in frantic bursts, carrying the weight of an entire sleepless night. Sam jolted awake, startled by the sudden call.
Anh Lee?
I'm at the hospital. Your sister is better now. I'm coming immediately. He didn't let her finish. He hung up, ran straight for his car. He didn't care how exhausted he was. He didn't care that he'd just finished a grueling shift. He didn't care about anything except the two most important people in his life, his sister and to Sam, who had gone through something terrifying without him there. The engine roared to life, and his car shot forward so fast his colleagues barely had time to react. I have to get there. I have to see them safe, or I'll lose my mind. Footsteps pounded frantically down the hallway. Sam, barely awakening, lifted her head just as the room door swung open hard. Sam! Officer Lee's voice cracked with panic. He rushed in, breath uneven, eyes red from worry and exhaustion. Are you okay?
NG.
Before he finished, a weak voice rose from the bed. Lee, stop yelling in a hospital. I'm very much alive. Lee spun around, eyes instantly wet. Gee, you scared me to death. He hurried to hold her hand, but Chion glanced at Sam, the girl standing nearby, confused and overwhelmed. Sam! Her voice softened, overflowing with gratitude. Thank you. If you hadn't found me early, I don't know what would have happened. Hearing that, Lee turned toward Sam. His dark eyes locked onto her, filled with gratitude, guilt, and something deeper. You found her unconscious? You called the ambulance? You stayed up all night with her? His voice trembled. Sam looked down, flustered. Yes, when I came by and no one answered, the door wasn't locked. I went in and saw her on the floor. I just reacted. No, Sam. Lee stepped closer, his voice firm. That wasn't just instinct. That was kindness, courage, and something I can't thank you enough for. Sam's fingers twisted nervously together. I only did what I should. Chion smiled, weak but deeply warm. You did much more than that. You saved me last night, Sam. The doctor said if it had been later, my blood pressure could have become very dangerous. Sam froze. She hadn't realized what she did mattered that much. Lee looked at her for a long moment, then gently placed his hand on her shoulder. Sam, thank you. Truly. Thank you for being there when my sister needed someone. And he inhaled deeply, his voice low and full of emotion. Thank you for taking care of her in my place, even though I wasn't there. The room fell silent. Chion watched them quietly, her eyes soft, as if she completely understood the feelings growing between her little brother and this gentle girl. Lee, she spoke softly, my little brother owes this girl a great debt. Lee lowered his head, his reply steady. Not just one, but many. To Sam's cheeks flushed bright red, her heartbeat thundering in her chest. But in that moment she felt it clearly. Both Chion and Officer Lee truly valued her, and that warmth was even sweeter than any pot of chicken soup.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong video hôm của mình. Hy vọng rằng video của mình sẽ mang đến một ý nghĩa nhỏ trong cuộc sống của mọi người. Và hy vọng rằng những câu chuyện mình kể mọi người sẽ yêu thích và ủng hộ kênh của mình để mình có động lực ra nhiều video hay hơn để cho mọi người cùng lắng nghe những câu chuyện. Và hiện tại thì những video của mình đang được phát hành vào khung giờ 7 giờ tối và 7 giờ sáng tại Việt Nam. Thì nếu mà mọi người yêu thích những video của mình thì nhớ like, share và chuông thông báo để nhận thông báo khi mình đăng video mới nhất nha. Cảm ơn mọi người đã ủng hộ mình trong suốt thời gian vừa qua và lắng nghe những câu chuyện của mình cùng với những chia sẻ của mình. ở trong cuối mỗi video, và hy vọng sẽ được đồng hành cùng mọi người trong thời gian sắp tới, và hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở trong video lần sau nha. Chào mọi người.